Ladies and gentlemen, 49 coming at you another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1, just loading into game number 1 of Felfy and Friends up against TYK. Joining me for this cast will be the mid player for the Bambis Rising, 5200. He'll be co-casting from in-game, so until he loads in he won't be able to say anything. And so this should be a good best of 2 series. Today is the last day for the Group 1 and Group 2 playoffs before you advance to the next stages, and so it's a pretty important day for both teams. 5200, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's good.
Do you have a headset or anything on? There's a little bit of background noise over on your end. It sounds like someone's vacuuming.
Is it better right now?
Still just sounds like there's like a vacuum or like a fan in the background.
I don't know which way the microphone threshold should be. Is it on the left or on the right side?
I'm not actually 100% certain. Oh well, we'll have to deal with it.
Sorry, it's just the heat pump is on. Let's just turn it down.
Okay.
Hold on.
Just gonna quickly log into Steam.
How about right now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay, so we're loading in. So Felfy and Friends have first pick, so it'll be interesting to see who they choose to let through the draft. We could see Ember Spirit slip through the draft, and Felfy and Friends can pick him up at the first pick.
Does
So,
Felfy play Ember?
I'm not too sure if anyone does, but I'd assume that most mid players know how to play Ember Spirit. I know you've been playing him a lot lately.
Yeah, had to increase the hero pool for my team.
Yeah, Yoshi was actually telling me that he's the one that got you to start playing Ember Spirit. Was that true, or was that just him just stealing your glory?
Well, I thought about playing Ember Spirit like previously, but my success with him in parts wasn't that great. But Yoshi, you know, was just I met Yoshi on the way back to home, so like, he was just convincing me that you should practice him. You know, he's very good.
10 seconds
So
remaining.
he did give me a little push to try out the Ember Spirit.
5 seconds remaining.
Okay, so we've got the Slark and the Invoker bands as the first bands for both teams. Very standard. I mean,
Reserve time.
wait, Felfy and Friends and Bambis Rising, you guys are all dentistry students, yeah? Or is it just Victor that's a dentistry student for you guys?
No, Victor is Dentech. I'm
Radiant
also a
team
Dentech.
pick.
In the same class as Victor. So
Oh,
that's how
okay.
we met.
Right. Because I know that 2 of the teams are made up of dentistry students, so...
This team is dentistry and my team is Dentech. So it's 2
So-
different courses. But
Oh, okay. What's the
similar-
difference between
similar background?
dentistry and dentech?
Dentistry, you just do the clinical side, and Dentech is just we're technicians, so we deal with
10 seconds remaining.
the stuff that dentists use for their patients. Like
5
say you
seconds remaining.
need like some crowning done and stuff, but
Right.
we're just the ones doing the work behind
Reserve
the
time.
scenes, whereas they put it in the patients.
Oh, I see. So the dentists, the carriers, you guys are the sport players?
Pretty much. Yeah. They get
And
the glory, we do the dirty work.
Oh, I see how it is. So we've got a Lycan Respect band coming up from TYK, so they don't want to have to deal with the Lycan Death Ball push. Second band, Ancient Apparition, coming up from Felfy and Friends. And we've got an Ember Spirit first pickup. And so it looks like one of their players must be pretty confident. They do have a stand-in in for them today. They've got Flip Switch, who's replacing one of their players. So it'll be interesting to see... Oh, you go on.
Flip
10
Switch.
seconds
Flip
remaining.
Switch should be playing the offlane, I think. He's one of my mates, and I think he's more comfortable with
5
the support
seconds remaining.
or the offlane role. So I think Ember Spirit should be
Reserve
their
time.
usual mid, whoever they run mid with.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have seen Viper used as a counter to the Ember Spirit, and I know that in your game against 2IP, they were able to use Viper to shut you down the early stages of the game, but you guys were able to split push in game number 1 and eventually pick up your farm that way. And so Naga Siren is the first pick up for TYK. They love to do this. We could be seeing another wombo combo coming up from TYK, the Naga Siren as well as the Dirge. And so the reason why that's such an effective combo is you use the Song of the Siren to enable Dirge to set down the Tombstone. So when the song wears off, you start the fight with 2-3 zombies on every single hero. Brutal amount of damage coming up from the zombies. They all have an additive slow. The lower your HP gets, they can proc Death Lust, which effectively doubles their movement and attack speed. And so TYK going with their very standard wombo combo draft. Difficult to counter just because Sing 2, who will be playing the Naga Siren, likes to go for 4 staff as well as the Blink Dagger, just to give him that extra initiation range. since Song of the Siren has 1,250 range. If you're caught in it,
10
you'll be able to
seconds
sleep out your
remaining.
entire team, give Undying time to walk in, set up his tombstone. If they go for something like a Dazzle, he could also set up Weave, or even Tinker with the March of the Machines. Incredibly brutal combo. I think Naga Siren, Undying, Tinker, and Dazzle combo that Zenith used in TI2. I don't know how effective it was. I mean, the Tinker wasn't able to get enough farm for it to be really effective, but the two team fights, they were able to pull it off. They were able to win decisively despite being 15k gold behind. So Disruptor picked up by Felfy and friends, their favorite support hero.
10 seconds
I think it's Felfy's friend that always plays that Disruptor. He gives him a great amount of setup on these tri lanes. If you catch a single hero out of position, you glimpse him back, trap him in the kinetic field, and give his teammates time to beat them in.
Yep. They're the king of the tri-lanes, aren't they?
Yeah, Felfy and friends. I think Flash is telling me they're the only team that have beaten them in the tri-lane versus tri-lane matchup up against Team Blink. So Felfy and friends, very practiced with that Disruptor.
5 seconds remaining.
It's kind of surprising that no team actually bans out the Disruptor as a respect ban, considering the fact that that's the cornerstone of their tri-lane. What are your thoughts on the Naga Siren and Undying combination?
I think it's very strong. I think Victor showed me they use Venomancer along with the is it Venomancer dying as well?
I think in the last game I saw with them where they used that combination, it was the Nyx Assassin and the Dirge. So the Nyx Assassin would hang back so that when Dirge got Dover Pond and ganks, he'd just run and throw at the Impale, provide that covering fire for Undying to walk back.
Radiant team back.
My question is, does Ember Spirit's Sleight of Fist hit every single zombie?
Yeah, it does. That's the reason why they banned out the Gyrocopter, because Gyrocopter's flat cannon also a great way to clear out the zombies, as you can not only clear out the zombies, you also hit the tombstone. I don't think Sleight of Fist hits the tombstone, but I know it hits all the zombies.
Remaining.
And so that's something that you have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
5
So-
seconds remaining.
The combo might work, but not the best combo against this lineup, I reckon.
Yeah,
Reserve
you
time.
do have to keep in mind though, the advantage of the Naga Siren and Undying Initiation is that means that they can instantly pick off Disruptor at the start of these fights. They can lock him down with the instant if they have another follow-up stun or a follow-up silence. The last series they used the Naga Siren and Undying combination, they had Death Prophet, who will be able to land those silence on the enemy supports the instant after Song of the Siren ended, so he wouldn't be able to do anything. This Disruptor, he's not going to go for a BKB. So if he gets caught out of position, especially with the song, and he drops before he could drop off his kinetic field or his static storm, team fight's already won for TYK. It will be interesting to see how they choose to lane it, because they did choose to go for a dual lane last time. Since Undying, he can go 1v3, but it usually is nice to have another hero to back him up just in case.
Reserve time.
And since a dual lane won't really be punished if you have an Undying there, just because he's so hard to bring down with that decay as well as that tombstone. Visage ban out, so
TYK can run a target lane as well.
because it looks like Felfy and friends want to go for a very aggressive tri-lane. Just because I have that Disruptor pickup. He's not very effective as a defensive tri-lane support, so you usually want to go for those early ganks and early engagements with the Disruptor. His biggest issue as well is he can't really roam and go for rotational ganks, just because the only thing he has to help set up kills is Kinetic Field and Glimpse. Glimpse is pretty unreliable when you go for a gank in the mid lane, but the Kinetic Field can be handy if you have another hero to set it up. So Death Prophet picked up a TYK, so it looks like they're going for the exact same draft they went for in the last game. They pulled off that wombo combo. So Exorcism does so much damage, and you have that huge AoE silence you can use right after Song of the Siren ends. So that catches out Disruptor and Ember Spirit. Those two are effectively useless. Ember Spirit looks like he'll have to go for early BKB if he wants to stand a chance against this lineup. But if that Naga Siren is able to get her 4-staff or her Blink Dagger up very quickly, Telfy and friends are in for a rough game.
Oh dear.
5 seconds remaining.
One thing to keep in mind though is TYK, they're focused entirely on team fights, so Felfy and friends could do what Bambi Rising did in game 1 against 2IP, which is that split push. That's one of the underrated features of Ember Spirit, is the fact that with the Fire Remnant, similar to Tinker, he's very difficult to gank. You just go into a lane, throw a Remnant far back, farm the wave, the instant you get ganked, you just zip back to your Remnant, and then TP to another lane. So you can always have that split pushing capability coming out from the Ember Spirit.
It seems like they want to fight though. They picked up a Bristleback as well.
Yeah, so Bristleback probably going to be played by AO, who's the offlane player for Felfy and friends. They do have a standard flip switch who could play the offlaner as well. So Bristleback, very strong hero in the offlane. Although against, if they could actually go 1v1 the offlane, so Undying up against Bristleback. In that case, I'd actually have to give the advantage over to Undying, just because he could sap Bristleback's strength, use that to outlast him. If Bristleback goes for the Quill Spray harass, Undying just has to pick up a magic wand, so he could trade decays for every Quill Spray he receives in return. Should be a pretty easy matchup for the Undying.
Yeah, but one thing I'd like to mention is Bristleback's the Crow Spray. It's physical damage, so it should kill all the zombies as well. So I think...
I'm not actually too sure if the Quill Spray works on zombies. I don't think I've ever seen Bristleback in game with a Dirge. If it does, then that could actually be a very excellent counter to the wombo combo coming out from TYK. If it doesn't, then it still offers... Oh, okay. Because I know they're magic immune.
Physical.
Right, huh. So it could be an effective counter.
Damage. Yeah.
And so TYK deliberating on their 4th pickup. The Bristleback could have actually screwed over the combination, but you still have to keep in mind, you give Death Prophet time to set up that AoE silence on more than one target, so 2-3 heroes you can catch out. It's got a massive AoE, as well as the fact that she can set up her Exorcism, so you can just walk alongside a hero, just make him melt with the DPS coming up from the spirits.
I think a lot of this is gonna depend on how well Disruptor plays, because he's the one that has to decide, you know, how the game goes in a team fight.
Yeah. Nyx Assassin picked up, so TYK could be doing what they did the last game, which is have the Undying as well as the Nyx Assassin. This is an almost identical draft coming up from them. So TYK sticking to their guns.
What their last pick is.
Okay. So Felfie and friends, they might have seen this before. If they did their homework, they'll know what they're up against. If they haven't, then they're in for a very rude awakening, just because there's such a brutal combination coming out from TYK. I think it was TYK up against 2IP, where they used that combination, and they were able to take a very convincing game number 1. Game 2, TIP were able to capitalize of the weakness of Sing2 over on the Invoker. He went for a very greedy and very unconventional Invoker build, and that was heavily punished by the Templar Assassin pickup. So Felfie and friends, they're dipping into their reserve time for their 4th pickup. They have banned out the Timbersaw as well as the Knights. So those are indicative of the fact they want to run in Bristleback, as Timbersaw beats Bristleback handling the one-on-one situation, just because of Whirling Death harassment. And Lifestealer is a very strong aggressive tri-lane hero, especially when you have the Naga Siren to provide not only the Riptide to increase his DPS, but also the Ensnare to lock him in place, as Lifestealer just relies on his teammates to be able to set up the CC and the snares for him to beat on people. Open Wounds is good, but it does need a few points up in it before it becomes really effective as a solo ganking ability. And so Felfie and friends still...
TYK's last pick was Juggernaut, I think.
Oh, okay.
Last time they played it.
That's right, yeah, you had the Juggernaut Omnislash. They were able to play 4v5. Juggernaut didn't even show up to most fights, and TYK was still able to dominate just because they had such huge power coming out. That combination. They've got the Shadow Shaman pickup. Could be a very good counter in this case, just because you have the Serpent Wards. If Shadow Shaman could drop the Serpent Wards before he dies, they could output a lot of DPS. But at the same time, him and Disruptor are two very squishy heroes. If they get called out by the song, they will be dropping before the fight even begins. If Death Prophet or the Nyx Assassin can catch him out with the Silence or with the Impale, the fight could easily be a 3v5. And Felfie and friends, they can't really go toe-to-toe against TYK without those two support heroes. They need the Static Storm, and they also need the Mass Serpent Wards in order to be able to stand toe-to-toe. Shadow Shaman also is a pretty greedy support hero. He is very slow and very squishy, so he needs a huge amount of mana to be able to pull off his abilities in rapid succession. He needs a large number of levels as well. Ether Shock is actually one of the best AoE nukes in the game. 320 damage at level 4. Hits up, I believe, 7 targets at once. So if he gets the Arcane Boots and if he gets the Blink Dagger, Shadow Shaman becomes an incredibly potent ganking as well as team fighting hero. TYK dipping into all their reserve time, they're completely out of it now, so they went for the Luna last ban. Very, very powerful ban, especially against Felfie and friends, because you've got the Disruptor to glimpse them back to enable Luna to get more hits in, as well as the Shadow Shaman to lock him in place, and then nuke him down with the Ether Shock.
5 seconds remaining.
And so TYK, they don't have a carry, so Felfie and friends,
Team pick.
they banned out the Lone Druid, one of Pandy's best heroes. So exact same lineup as before, Juggernaut instantly picked up, no deliberation whatsoever. TYK.
He hasn't been doing their homework.
Yeah, they're sticking to their guns. We'll see how effective this combination is. Sing2 Valerie played an absolutely fantastic Naga Siren. MVP for his team, was able to set up so many great 4-5-man Song of the Sirens. Enabled the Undying and the Death Prophet to set up, gave them space, and they had that excellent coordination. The instant the Song of the Siren wore off, Death Prophet followed up with the Silence, Nyx Assassin followed up with the Impale. They're able to start these fights 3v5. Juggernaut can also, if he isolates somebody with the Song of the Siren, could just Omni-Slash one of them.
5 seconds remaining.
So they could instantly decimate Felfie and friends the instant the Song of the Siren wears off. Could prove to be a critical factor. One of the huge advantages of having Bristleback as the offlane hero, though, is he's most likely to be picking up that mechanism for his team. If he gets an early mech, they actually can clash in these team fights against TYK. They might even be able to win them just with the sheer amount of burst power coming out from the Ember Spirit, as well as Bristleback with that sustained DPS from the Quills, especially if they do kill off the Dirge zombies, and a tiny pickup coming up from Felfie and friends. So an extremely aggressive tri-lane coming up from those three. Tiny, very powerful carry. His only drawback is the fact that he needs an extreme amount of farm before he can start to function as a right carry. Just because you need the Aghanim Scepter as your first big item, Then you want to build something like an Assault Cuirass. That's when you start to pick up as a carry. Until you pick up those big items, he can output a surprising amount of DPS with this combination, but in terms of right clicks, he doesn't offer as much as another carry. But Tiny is considered one of the best, hardest carries in the game once he gets that ball rolling. Also an excellent counter to the Dirge, just because if he picks up the Aghanim Scepter, his cleave will be killing the zombies. So I've got three very effective ways of clearing out the zombies. You've got the Slater Fist, the Quill Spray coming up from Bristleback, as well as the Tiny Aghanim Scepter upgrade. And so it looks like Flip Switch, they're standing, going to be playing that offlane Bristleback. Felthy's friend playing that Disruptor. I wonder if he ever gets bored of playing that hero, just because he plays him in what appears to be every single game. I don't know if he even can play any other heroes. From what I've seen, every single game he's on Disruptor. No one seems to ban Disruptor against Felthy and friends, which I find so confusing.
Interesting.
So just going to introduce...
It's like a Yoshi and his AA, isn't it?
Yeah, Yoshi and his AA, the exact same thing. No one seems to ban it out. Or UGTFO and his Mirana, although Mirana is often banned out against Horseman of the Ruckus. And so just going to quickly introduce the players for both teams. Felthy, not the captain, he's just actually the mascot for the team. He's usually the carry player. Playing the Ember Spirit, he's going to be going mid. Felthy's friend, the actual captain of the team. I guess Felthy's just a decoy. Playing Disruptor, the only hero he's played so far in the ODL 1. And at least in all the games I've casted. Road to 2.5k MMR, he transitions between the offlane as well as the support player. This game playing the Tiny, I believe he also plays a fantastic Visage as well as a Timbersaw. AO playing that Shadow Shaman, and standard Flip Switch playing the offlane Bristleback. Over on the side of TYK, looks like their Undying actually disconnected, but just reconnected in. Pandy, their captain, up on the Undying. He's going to be over into the offlane. Probably will go free their usual offlane player, so they're going to use the exact same combination they did before. Kukar Pang, carry player usually for TYK. This guy is playing mid, and Mickey as the Death Prophet, Mickey Mouse over in the Juggernaut, and Valerie on his signature hero, the Naga Siren. And so TYK looks like they're going to be repeating game 1 up against 2IP. Exact same picks as before. I think the bans were different, but we'll see how Felthy and friends fare up against it, since unlike our 2IP, they've got 3 effective ways of clearing out those zombies, and so that could prove to be a point in their factor. And we've got the game unpausing, never mind. TYK is still holding up. Looks like they're having a few issues over in their end. They did mention, I think Pandy was telling me that they had a few internet issues. So this mid matchup between Death Prophet and Ember Spirit, who do you think has the advantage in this case?
I want to give to Death Prophet.
Yep.
Because she can clear the waves easily and she's ranged. Yeah, and she can spam her nukes a lot better than Ember Spirit. So I'm gonna give it to Death Prophet.
Yeah, I mean, in this matchup, Death Prophet wins a lot of 1v1 mid matchups just because her Crib Swarm gives her so much. It gives her a way to harass the enemy, get CS, as well as push the wave back at the same time. Since she has more movement speed than you with Witchcraft, she'll be securing those runes. With rune control, she can constantly spam out that Crib Swarm, keeps you very low. Death Prophet wins the mid lane just by playing hyper aggressive from level 1. Similar to a Viper, you just keep them so low that they can't go on you. Ember Spirit does have to Flame Guard to mitigate some of the Crib Swarm harassment, but Crib Swarm has a much lower cooldown and much more damage than the Flame Guard, so she's going to be able to out DPS it down. Ember Spirit could actually choose to go for the RTZ or Sing Sing build, which is to max out Slater Fist and get 3 points up in the Searing Chains as soon as possible. I don't know how effective that'll be in this case, but that offers you a lot more lane control, especially when you're up against the ranged heroes such as the Death Prophet. Since the Flame Guard will give you more survivability and overall DPS, but Death Prophet can very easily break the Flame Guard using a Crib Swarm. So it'll be interesting to see what Ember Spirit will go for in terms of skill build. 5 to 100, you play more Ember Spirit than I do. What build do you reckon he'll be most likely going towards?
Personally, I think the RTZ build would be much better in this case because, yeah, the flame that gives you the shield is gonna get broken by Death Prophet almost immediately, and Death Prophet's ulti, if Ember Spirit does go on her, like she just pop her ulti and it's physical damage, so it doesn't really offer you anything. So I think he just has to play it safe, farm up to maybe the mid lane, maybe win team fights. I'll do the split push game, I guess.
Yeah.
TYK is quite heavy on team fights.
They're entirely dependent on that team fight combination. The only hero that really could split push, I suppose, is Juggernaut. Just with that healing ward, he could continue to sustain this push. And we've got some smack talk flying out over the minimap as both teams. Do these teams know each other, TYK and FnF, outside of the game? Because they seem fairly friendly with each other.
No, I don't think so. I'm not too sure, actually.
Maybe Felthy and friends just being overly friendly today.
Is the player ready to go?
No, I think they had to wait for one of the players over on TYK, I think Golfy and Pandy were telling me they had net issues, so I think they're just waiting for lag spikes to end, so hopefully the game should be resuming shortly. Another thing to keep in mind though is Ember Spirit, usually his primary form of DPS if he goes for the Flame Guard build is the Flame Guard just because it provides 60 DPS per second, but when you're going up against a hero like Death Prophet who can not only burst you down with the Crypt Swarm, but also has the Exorcism, so if you decide to go for the long sustained DPS, she'll always beat you in that sense. You want to go for the burst damage build. So the RTZ build and maxing out that Slate of Fist with 3 points up in the Searing Chain, that'll provide you the most ganking potential. Just because Searing Chains has a very low range and it's a random AoE, so any 2 units caught within the AoE will be snared. So Slate of Fist gives you that extra degree of control. You could use Slate of Fist to save yourself from having to initiate with the Remnant. So you throw out the Slate of Fist, pop out Searing Chains to instant your Slate of Fist goes, and then follow up the Remnant if you want to engage. Great amount of mana, a very mana efficient DPS coming out from those 2 spells. So Juggernaut with the Quelling Blade as well as the Stout Shield. Juggernaut's one of the few heroes where Quelling Blade actually is a pretty acceptable pickup on him, just because he's got low base damage but a very fast animation. So if you're not experienced with Juggernaut's animation, or if you're up in a 1v1 situation where you want to get all the CS, Quelling Blade actually is a pretty good pickup on him. Looks like Felfy and friends, they do this every single game. They always group up as 5, rotate over to the enemy jungle, and TYK's doing the exact same thing, so both teams completely missing each other. Bit of a pity. Would have liked to see a level 1 5-man engagement, but instead both teams going for the opponent's jungle. The advantage of what... Oh, go on.
FnF didn't pop the smoke, so I think they...
Yeah, that's just the thing I was going to point out. The fact that the smoke not only gives you the extra movement speed, it also means that when it pops, you know someone's caught out of position. You could usually guess where they are based off the proximity of the smoke, and that means that you know when to engage and when to disengage. They're going for the ward block over in the top lane. Very interesting considering the fact that in 6.80 you usually want to go for the safety ward, so either here, or even over here, depending on how cheeky you want to be to avoid getting dewarded. So Felfy and friends choosing actually to go for the ward block instead. Interesting considering they have the Bristleback, so he actually can just sit and passively leech EXP when they do pull the camp. And so that actually can work out to Bristleback's favor more so than the supports over on the Dire side. But nonetheless, we've got the tri-lane over in the top lane, so... No, they're not, just a dual lane again, so they're doing the exact same thing they did last time. Nyx Assassin to provide covering fire for the Dirge. Golfy just hanging around the regeneration rune, he spikes it down. Nyx doesn't need any mana. Kukar Peng getting the successful creep block, so she has the high ground over Felfy. Just playing it very safe. Keep in mind, Ember Spirit has 1 armor, so he actually cops a lot of damage from physical DPS.
You are too slow.
Kukar Peng though playing very passively, not going for any right clicks, not even throwing out level 1 Crypt Swarm. Bit surprising considering the way you play Death Prophet is you play aggressive from level 1, very similar to a Pugner.
Yeah.
You use your Q to get as much CS as you can. Yeah, so I don't know why she's being zoned out so easily by the Ember Spirit. She should be completely dominating him in lane right now. She's picking up some CS. But so far, Ember Spirit, Felfy should not have gotten as good a start as he did, since he's almost got level 2. Slip Switch hanging around. You have to keep in mind, actually it looks like a tri-lane, so Undying going to be going 1v3. He's going to be pretty happy with that, since with the Decay, if he plays very aggressively, he'll be too tanky for them to really go on him. You see right now, he threw out 1 Decay, he's got 2 stacks up, so plus 8 strength coming up from him. Tiny has a strength hero that does actually mitigate a lot of his DPS as well. Flip Switch has to be careful because you've got the Ensnare locking in place as well as the Impale. So Juggernaut actually could go on the Bristleback, however you have to keep in mind that Bristleback already has a point up in his passive, so he's very tanky. Always is a bit of a gamble when you go for a gank attempt on the Bristleback, because if you dive him, you most likely will be trading a kill. Just because he'll be able to secure a kill of his own with the Quill Spray. It does a surprising amount of DPS. It's highly underestimated by a lot of heroes. Death Prophet choosing to start with a Magic Wand at level 1. I don't really understand what the rationale for that was. It looks like Ember Spirit's going for the conventional build, so he's maxing out the Flame Guard with 1 point up in the Slate of Fist. Bit surprising he didn't go for a point up in the Searing Chains, as usually you go for a Slate of Fist at level 4, just because level 1 Slate of Fist doesn't really offer you all too much. It's got a really long cooldown, doesn't really offer you all that much damage, and you don't hit hard enough for it to be effective. But Kukar Peng, expecting the RTZ build, picked up the Magic Wand in anticipation for that. That delays her bottle, she would have had it if she had skipped it. So, interesting item pickup coming up from Kukar Peng. Dirge going for some creep blocks. Pandy playing very safe. He's got that Ring of Basilius. Point up in the Soul Rip. It's always good to get 1 level up in Soul Rip as Undying, just because it gives you that burst heal. 125 can actually turn the fight of early engagement. You also can use it to nuke people down. Going to be maxing out that Tombstone now. as that means that it's impossible for the Radiant players to go on Undying without trading a kill himself. Undying for the first 20 minutes is pretty much unkillable, or if you do go for a kill on him, you're going to be trading a lot of kills in exchange, just because those zombies do so much damage in the early stages, because you can't kill the tombstone. The instant you move past the 20-minute mark, when people have enough HP to survive the zombies, and enough DPS just to be able to focus down the tombstone, his teamfight effectiveness drops significantly. But with the Naga Siren song, they're ensuring that in the mid to late game, Undying still has relevancy, just because his ultimate provides you so much. It gives you an AoE snare, an AoE damage amplification, and a way for Undying to sustain himself from these fights. So Felfy, top lane, with engagement happening, flip switch, cops the ensnare, as well as the blade spin. Golfy's hanging around the haste rune, a lot of quill sprays being popped, Jukes of Hazard coming out from the Bristleback. Valerie's taking a lot of damage, gonna throw in another ensnare, but they might actually take a fall. Mickey Mouse, never mind, he's gonna take a fall with that Riptide. Sting to Valerie secures the kill, moves in front of Bristleback before using the Riptide, just in case if she propped enough damage for that quill sprays, that could have actually killed Mickey Mouse. Great plays coming out from TYK. Using 2 ensnares for that, so Valerie completely out of mana, but she's picked up very early boots. And she's going for a very conventional build. 2 points up in the ensnare. Probably will be maxing out the Riptide, although since she has the Juggernaut, she might be maxing out the ensnare. Usually as a Naga Siren, you want to max out Riptide because it's your most efficient form of DPS. And since it propagates to your illusions, if you get a point up a mirror image, you can use the flash farm.
Is under attack. About
Oh,
Look at Felfy's build.
yeah, we were just talking about how strange it was for him to go for a point up in Slate of Fist at level 3. Looks like he's going for Slate of Fist into Flame Guard, so no points in Searing Chains. I don't think I've ever seen this build before. I don't know how to respond to this.
New meta, the new Felfy.
Felfy, please, where is your lockdown coming from? I guess he's playing it very safe. Maybe he's going to pick up a point over in the Searing Chains at level 7. Maybe he just wanted the points up in Slate of Fist to control the lane, which I do admit, it has been controlling the lane very well against Kukar Peng. Felfy shouldn't have gotten as much CS as he should have gotten. He's got a point up in his ultimate now, so he's got level 6 before Kukar Peng does. Very dangerous for Death Prophet. He actually can go for a kill over on Death Prophet, but he doesn't have the Searing Chain though. So it's gone for a very strange lane sustain build. I don't really know how effective this will be, but we'll see how it goes.
He was playing WoW, and I think not adding Searing Chains really, mitigate his kill potential on Death Prophet, because he would be able to kill her like right now.
Yeah, especially since he has level 6 before she does. He could even throw out all 3 remnants and use that to burst her down. Because you have to keep in mind, each remnant does 150 magic damage, and since you have 3 of them, the mana cost for his ultimate is exactly the same whether you use 1 charge or 3. So you can just throw out all 3, zip in, throw out the Searing Chains and beat them down. Since you only really need 1 charge for most gank attempts, it's nice having 3, but they've got a short enough cooldown that they should be off cooldown when you rotate to gank. But yeah, Ember Spirit having an absolute ball of a time up against Kukar Peng. Hasn't really been auto effective on that Death Prophet. She's gone for a point up on that Silence instead of maxing out that Witchcraft. So she had that clutch point. Looks like Tiny's has been called out. The glimpse is back Pandy, but Pandy doesn't really care. He soul rips himself, and Valerie able to get another kill. Felfy's friend, perhaps a bit late in the glimpse. If he glimpsed back when the heroes are TP'd over, could have saved his Tiny. But that's the power of the decay. You look at Disruptor right now, it's 450 HP. That decay is sapping away so much of his strength. And Undying going for a second point up in the Soul Rip, so very old school Undying build from him. And you get 2 points up in Soul Rip because you won't have more than 10 units until the later stages of the game. And so 2 points up in Soul Rip, then you max out the Tombstone. In recent games I've seen Undying, most players tend to just completely skip that second point and max out the Tombstone more, but since Undying's been going 1v3, he's got the EXP, so he knows he'll be able to hit level 8 before any huge engagements happen. Golfy going to be scouted by Felfy's friend. Golfy just hanging around. He's got enough mana for an Impale and enough mana for a Spike Carapace, so he should be okay. While that's happening, Juggernaut going toe-to-toe with Flip Switch. Juggernaut having a bit of a tough time just because he has a fairly low base HP pool, so Bristleback can bully him in a lane with the Quill Spray, as well as the fact that if he goes on him with the Blade Spin, he just turns around. Blade Spin negates all magical damage, but physical DPS is a whole other story. Slate of Fist and Kukar Peng playing very scared. You notice he hasn't actually been hitting Felfy with those Crypt Swarms as well. That's another thing to keep in mind with the Death Prophet. If you're not hitting the enemy mid-hero with the Crypt Swarm, you're not using your ability to the fullest extent. He's got 4 points up in the Slate of Fist now, so every 6 seconds he could throw it out. It's similar to laning against a Tide Hunter. Sorry, not a Tide Hunter, a Kunkka. With that Tidebringer, he could constantly harass the other lane, even though he's a melee hero. And so Felfy going for a very strange passive kind of farming oriented build. I don't know what this first big item will be. Could be going for the phase into drums. Pretty standard build for Ember Spirit, especially if you go for the RTZ build. But we've got Valerie rotating over. Fire Remnant placed defensively by Felfie, so he's got that to zip to if he overextends the middle lane. But Valerie is hanging around. She's got a lot of levels up, level 5, so 3 points up in that Riptide. That Riptide completely tears through Ember Spirit just because he has such low armor. Gank attempt happening in the top lane looks like as Blade Spin from Mickey Mouse over in Flip Switch. Flip Switch wisely hanging around the creep wave, and Mickey Mouse is going to take a fall. Yeah, that's a free kill for the Bristleback, and with that Claw Spray he takes it. But what's happening in the middle lane? They get a kill over in the Ember Spirit, so they trade one core for another. Kukar Pang able to secure it with that haste ring as well as that Crypt Swarm. I don't know why the Juggernaut went for a kill attempt over on the Bristleback. I guess he wanted Bristleback to drive him away from the creep wave. As that's a very old school Juggernaut ganking method. You Blade Spin to force them away from the creep wave. Then once they're away from the creep wave and your Blade Spin ends, you ult them and that usually ensures you a kill. But they get to Bristleback with 2 points up in his passive. I don't think that actually would have been enough to kill him anyway. So Juggernaut should have played it very safe. He's gone for 2 points up in stats. So a very old school Juggernaut build. No points up in the healing ward, which I disagree with. You usually want at least 1 point up in the healing ward, just because it's such a powerful pushing ability as well as team fight ability, especially if the enemy team don't focus the healing ward. It also means, especially with the Naga Siren song, if Naga Siren uses it to counter initiate, you could pop the healing ward to provide that sustainability for the 7 seconds. 5200 actually has disconnected. I don't know what's happening. We've got a quick pause coming out from TYK. They must have thought it was the enemy player, so it's just a reflex. So 5200 should be joining me back shortly. I think he might have been having a few internet issues on his end. Hopefully he'll be back. At any rate, very good game coming out for TYK. In terms of EXP, actually Felfie and Friends are 1000 EXP in lead, but in terms of gold, 500 gold lead over for TYK. That's due to the kill lead they have. Whereas for Felfie and Friends, in terms of EXP, they've been getting a lot more solo EXP. That's because Undying has been harassed out a bit. And their offlaner, Flip Switch, as well as the Ember Spirit, even though they should have been completely dominated in lane, have received a huge amount of EXP as well as gold. 5200, you've reconnected. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Sorry.
They actually paused for you out of reflex because they thought one of the enemy players had disconnected. So TYK actually paused for you. Yeah. Great sportsman over in TYK. And well, Undying actually takes a fall to the Disruptor. That's the power of that Glimpse combination. Looks like Felfie's friend was able to, corner him in place with a Glimpse. Wasn't it your game against Bambi Rising where, when you guys were playing against TYK, sorry, when they paused for like 20 minutes while Bambi ran from a Net Cafe over to his mate's place?
There was FnF. FnF paused for us.
Oh, okay, that was FnF, right. Great sportsman on both teams, it looks like.
Great.
Ember Spirit has picked up a point over in the Searing Chains. So he does have that lockdown. He's going to pick up a double damage rune. He's got something flying over to the courier. I'm assuming... Oh, wow, he's going for Arcane Boot. So very interesting build coming up from him. Usually when you max out Sleight of Fist, you go for Phase Boots because it gives you more DPS. It's more efficient for you to trade Sleight of Fists. Whereas if you go for the Max Flame Guard build, then Arcane Boots is the preferred boot pickup. I know Snow likes to go for the Arcane Boots pickup just because the reason why Arcane Boots is great on Ember Spirit is it means you can use your ult multiple times in a single engagement. Because without Phase Boots... without the Arcane Boots, sorry, you don't have enough mana to use your ult more than once without not being able to use the Sleight of Fist or the Searing Chain. And so it does give you a lot more flexibility with how you want to use your Fire Remnants, but usually if you go Phase Drum, that gives you enough mana to be able to use your abilities multiple times during the fight. Bristleback going...
Phase Drum's better.
Yeah, Phase Drums is a much more effective fighting build. I guess with the Arcane Boots, he might be going for that split pushing kind of build. 11-minute Vanguard picked up by the Bristleback.
They want this to be a long game.
Who would you actually have to give the late game advantage to? Just because Naga Siren scales much better into the late game than the Disruptor. Undying scales well into the late game just because you have the song to set up the Tombstone.
I'm gonna give it to Felfie and Friends. I think Felfie and Friends has the lead right now.
Yep.
Whereas I think TYK should really be having the lead. I think their early game is much stronger than FnF.
You also have to keep in mind, Tiny is a fantastic carry. Tiny actually... Ooh, mid lane engagement happening. 3 heroes from both sides. Ether Shock finishes off Naga Siren. Exorcism has been popped. Felfie's taking a lot of damage. Glimpses back. Golfy and... Oh god, the internet's screwing up on mine. I'll be right back. Damn it.
Worst timing ever.
Damn it, damn it, damn it. Ethernet, please. Oh, I'm spiking. I should connect the internet. Nope. Sorry about that. My internet actually just screwed itself up a bit. Yep.
That's alright.
Hope I didn't miss anything too crazy. What's happening with my... Okay, cool.
You missed out 4 kills from mid lane. 2 kills from mid lane.
2 kills, yeah. There was one over in the Naga Siren and one over in Golfy.
Yeah.
So good plays coming out from both teams. Looks like Kukar Peng actually is keeping very far in terms of net worth. He's almost keeping on track with the Bristleback as well as the Tiny, but it looks like they're grouping up for that tower push now. That's going to be taking a fall. One of the things to keep in mind with Slate of Fist is it will hit targets even if you don't have vision of them. So it's a great way to throw it into line of sight. And we've got that Song of the Siren coming out. TYK, Pandy drops his Golem as well as the Tombstone. This is that wombo combo I was telling you about. Kukar Peng's second around. He wishes he had the exit. My god, wasn't able to land that Silence in time. Static Storm as well as the Mass Serpent was going to bring down Kukar Peng. Fantastic War Trap. Pandy's going to take a fall from the War Trap. Slate of Fish finishes off Naga Siren. Pandy lives, but never mind, the Remnant pops him off. And Felfy and friends, they did their homework. They were able to counter that wombo combo. Holy shit. Avalanche catches out Nyx Assassin. He might be taking fall. Never mind. He uses that Vendetta. And he survives. Road to 2.5k MMR. Throws up Felfy just to say, fuck you, buddy. I wanted that kill. And Mickey Mouse in the top lane. He's just farming. He doesn't want a part of any of that. Looks like he's going for a Battle Fury. Very late Battle Fury coming out from the Juggernaut, as he did lose his lane to flip switch. Since he fed the kill over to Bristleback. Bristleback has a Vanguard as well as Tread, so you're not going to be killing him at all, especially with 3 points up on his passive. Drums of Endurance picked up over on the Tiny. Tiny's going phase drums, a very good fighting build coming out from him. He could go for a value Yasha before he goes for his Aghanim Scepter. That TP's going to be cancelled by Golfy. Golfy goes in, pops out by Carapace, eats the Avalanche and the toss to the face, and Tiny this time throws a creep instead of his ally and gets a kill. Juggernaut, Mickey Mouse says, I didn't want a part of that, buddy. You're on your own.
Yeah, that was miscommunication by TYK, I think.
Ensnare thrown out, but there's no form of initiation coming up beyond that. Actually, Omni Slash over road to 2.5 km. 2 zombies, 3 zombies as well as the Riptide. He can be taken for. Valerie slashes and slashes through Tiny. Felfy's running for his life, and yeah, that Quill Spray does work on zombies. So Bristleback, excellent counterpick to this wombo combo. Looks like you're right on that 5200.
I think Felfy knew what's up, actually.
Yeah, that was a fantastic instant ward trap followed up by the glimpse to completely lock down Kukar Peng. She wasn't able to get the silence off in time. I thought TYK had the coordination down, but it looks like she was just a slight second off, and you saw that instant Mass Serpent ward as well as the Static Storm dropping them down. You have to keep in mind, Shadow Shaman has a very low cast point, 0.2, so he could drop Serpent wards before you get the silence off, unless you time it perfectly. And Static Storm has a 0 cast point animation, so Disruptor is able to drop that before you silence him. So if he silences your Death Prophet and locks him in place, there's not all too much you can do. Pandy taking a lot of damage. There's that glimpse lockdown from the Shadow Shaman. Static Storm's being dropped, locking out Mickey Mouse. He's caught in the connect field. He's going to be taking a fall as well. Exorcism drop, but too little too late from Kukar Peng. He should be backing the hell away. Naga Siren takes a fall. Golfy's running for his life. Drums of Endurance pop to give him that extra movement speed. Glimpses back. The next assassin gets a 2-man impale. Felfy's going to catch him out of that Searing Chain. Crypt Swarm flies out, but TYK falling apart at the seams. Felfy know what's up. That's some fantastic counter-initiation play coming out from them.
Oh my gosh, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by Felfy and friends.
Yeah, I thought TYK had their initiation down, but Felfy and friends going with the Bristleback counterpick as well as the Disruptor. I thought Disruptor would be food, but they weren't able to coordinate effectively. He's utilizing the fact that he has a faster cast point than the Death Prophet, so he could get a silence off before she does. Completely turn the fight around.
It's not looking good for TYK at all.
Yeah, that Juggernaut pickup hasn't worked out for them at all. Mickey Mouse has fed a lot of kills. He hasn't really been achieving all too much. He's going for that Battle Fury build, which I really disagree with. I would have liked to see him go for phase drums into the Aghanim Scepter, just because that give him more team fight, which is what they need right now. Since if he does go for a Battle Fury, at the rate he's farming, it'll be another 9 minutes before he gets it up. So a 25-minute Battle Fury coming out from the Juggernaut. Very slow, not going to be the most effective thing. And since Battle Fury is a farming item, you can't fight immediately anyway. And TYK, they have an early fighting lineup. They want to take these engagements when they can.
TYK should be winning the early game, but if he goes to Battle Fury build, that means he wants to go late game. But I think Felfy and Friends has the late game sorted.
Yeah, because Juggernaut can't go toe-to-toe against Tiny, just because you have to keep in mind, Craggy Exterior actually is a hell of a bitch to play against, especially when you're a melee hero. Every time Juggernaut goes for a right-click on Tiny, he has a chance of stunning himself, so Tiny's going to be very happy with that. He could just beat him down with the Aghanim Scepter. He does a huge amount of deeps, and is a very tanky hero to bring down. Felfy invisible, scouting around. He actually went for the creep blocks. He catches out 2 of the Searing Chain. Static Storm drops instantly. Mass Serpent wards, locking out Valerie. Golfy takes a fall. Crypt Swarm thrown out, but doesn't hit anybody. Glimpses him back, and range of the Serpent Wards, and Shadow Shaman snags that kill. Huge teamfight presence coming up from those two.
Bottom tower doesn't even have arms to defend
And they're able to cripple the support heroes from TYK. That could be a tower push coming out from them. While that's happening over in the bottom lane, road to 2.5k MMR, he's just casually farming in the background. He could be going for a value Yasha. It's a very good pickup on Tiny. It just gives you more attack speed and more movement speed before he goes for the Aghanim Scepter. But in this case, I think you might want to go for the Aghanim because it gives you more farming capability as well as more team fight. It looks like Ember Spirit's got an item flying out to him in the courier. And he's got the Drums of Endurance about to be picked up from him. So Drums of Endurance as... Oh, wow, okay, so that was the other item. Okay, so Battle Fury coming up from Ember Spirit, despite going Arcane Boots, bit interesting. Usually you want to go for phase into Battle Fury, because you get all the regeneration you need from the Perseverance. So the Arcane Boots is a wasted pickup. Well, it's not as good as a pickup as it could be, whereas if you went for phase... Yeah, just because he went for the RTZ kind of... He went for his own build, actually, with only 1 point up in Searing Chains at level 8, choosing to completely forgo it until the laning phase was over. So, strange build coming out from Felfie. Not the most optimal Ember Spirit build, but his team is very far ahead, so he's able to make use of what he can. 10,000... 10,000 EXP lead in favor of Felfie and friends, and 7,500 gold lead. Fire Remnant's being dropped in mid lane, so Felfie can initiate whenever he can. Song of the Siren catches out 2, TYK catches out 3, never mind, those two are going to drop instantly. Flip Switch can't do anything. Felfie's friend, they're going to catch a 2-man impale, they drop immediately, Omni Slash pops. Road to 2.5k MMR, throws out the Avalanche, Mickey Mouse hanging around, Blade Mail's keeping him alive, actually kills him with the Quill Spray. Felfie comes back in with a fantastic Fire Remnant to the Slate of Fist, gets a triple kill. We were talking about the counter to TYK, it looks like it's Felfie on that Ember Spirit. 5 for 2. Felfie know what's up. He's almost got his Battle Fury finished off the back of that fight. You have to keep in mind, Ember Spirit, if a Remnant is nearby, you gotta give that thing some respect and stay the hell away from it, because he can zip to it instantly, and that's a free Tattoo Tower. Tiny is a fantastic pusher once he gets his Aghanim Scepter. Even without his Aghanim Scepter, Toss does damage to towers, so he's actually able to do a surprising amount of push potential. He's gonna instantly kill off that creep wave. He's going for that Aghanim Scepter, he almost has it. Looks like Felfie and friends in a very commanding lead. Golfgree's hanging around, but he's gonna be very careful. Tiny can always toss one of his teammates in. So that's the threat that you have to keep in mind. I guess the Arcane Boots pickup works with the Tiny, since it means Tiny can go phase drums without having to go for Arcane.
Yeah, I guess that works.
Because I've got a Tricore lineup, and Bristleback goes through a lot of mana as well. So no Mechanism coming out from Bristleback. I would like to see a mech picked up on one of them, but maybe the support players will be picking up, since they've been having such a fantastic game. Blink as well as Arcane Boots picked up on Shadow Shaman. We're talking about Shadow Shaman as a very gritty support hero, but he's picked up his 2 core items, so he's in a very commanding lead of the game. Disruptor going for that 4 stuff. Almost has enough for it with that maxed out kinetic field as well as the maxed out glimpse. 4 stuff is a very dangerous pickup on the Disruptor. What do you think TYK could do right now?
Honestly, I think TYK game's almost over, to be honest. Unless they can get a team wipe, and like what they did just then was 2-man impale, so the 2 supports got caught out and just got blown up instantly. So instead of doing that, maybe they do it on the cores. But this is a long shot.
But at the same time, they have to lock down Shadow Shaman and Disruptor, because you saw the last time when they didn't lock him down. Glimpse into Mass Serpent, as the Static Storm to Mass Serpent once instantly killed the Death Prophet. So they're respecting the power coming out from those 2 support heroes. But since
AoE from Felfie and friends too strong.
Yeah, it looks like TYK drafted a early to mid game team fight wombo combo, but their team fights haven't really worked out in their favor. So Felfie and friends, they're in the dominating lead of the map. They know that if the game goes late, they're gonna win just because they're late game present with 3 carries up against 1.5. Juggernaut's an effective carry, but he, as a 1-position hero on his own, he falls off a lot in effectiveness. Kukar Peng could have been that secondary carry, but he's been having a pretty bad game. Looks like he's going for a Bloodstone. Really disagree with that item build pickup, especially considering the fact that he's playing from behind. Bloodstone offers you nothing when you're playing from behind. If you're ahead, great pickup. If you're behind, you want to go for something else. Yule Scepter would have been a much better pickup for the Death Prophet, just because it means if she gets Ward Trap, Valerie's actually going to take a fall. Call out the Hex, the Searing Chains, as well as the Shackle. Terminates the Naga Siren with extreme prejudice. Road to 2.5 camera, catches up the next assassin, gets that Tiny combination, almost kills him. Mickey Mouse instantly TPs over. Battle Fury up on the Ember Spirit, so he's outputting a lot of physical deeps in these fights. Drops her Fire Remnant defensively. Great plays coming out from Felfie, even though he's got a very unconventional build. Glimpses back Kukar Pang. She's going to take it for instant ward trap, as well as the Avalanche. Tombstone Zombies took a lot of damage. AO actually takes a fall from the tower. He didn't draw aggro away. Mickey Mouse goes in with the initiation, but he drops instantly with the Quill Spray. Bristleback's been causing so much pain for the team. Pandy's going to be taking a fall as well. Ember Spirit is godlike. And that's a tattoo down. This looks... Yeah, this is GG for TYK. Felfie and friends, looks like they found the counter to the TYK wombo combo. As that Ember Spirit being able to zip zap in and kill everything with that Sleight of Fist. Fantastic plays coming out from them.
I think TYK, the way they play is they like to play pocket strats. They have like very unconventional drafts.
Yep.
But you can't play a pocket strat twice because I guess people scout you out and if...
Yeah, it looks like Felfie did their homework. That Bristleback pickup completely negates the Undying Zombies just because the Quill Spray does instantly kill them. And Golfy, he's going to be taking a fall. He's forced to pop Vendetta. Never mind, Avalanche misses. So Tiny decides, hey, you get to live this time. But he's holding a tree. You have to keep in mind, Tiny, the instant they lose a fight, they lose the game. Tiny can push down your racks faster than almost any other hero in the game. He's on par with the Lycanthrope and with the Lone Druid. He pushes so goddamn quickly that when you lose a fight, you lose a lane of racks. That's one of the reasons why he's such an effective carry. Is that while he does need the Aghanim Scepter and the phase drums to really pick up, once he picks up steam, if you lose a fight, it's pretty much game over for you. In terms of EXP and gold lead, 15,000 EXP lead in favor of Felfie and friends, and 15,000 gold lead. Ties from TYK, they must be playing scared. Their wombo combo pocket strat hasn't really been working out. It's been counterpicked, and they've been outplayed as well with some great reactions coming out from the Shadow Shaman, as well as the Disruptor. Felfie's friend and AO have been playing phenomenally. Hair trigger on both their ultimates. The instant they get caught up in the song, they're spamming the ultimate, so the instant if they don't get immediately disabled, they're able to drop those two. Forces Nyx Assassin to go for the impale on those two. It means that the 3 cores are able to stay alive and output all their DPS. As since they wasted the majority of their burst damage on their 2 supports, then the 3 cores come in and they're able to clean up the fight. Looks like they're going to try to defend that tier 2. I would like to see them actually sack that tier 2. Go for a split push over in the mid and bot lane. As you have to keep in mind, TYK haven't pushed a single tower. They've been playing scared this entire game because they've been grouping up and fighting as 5. But their team fights haven't been working out, so you at this point, you want to start split pushing and trying to secure your farm where you can. Juggernaut's going for that very greedy Battle Fury. He still hasn't got it finished. By the time he finishes it, it's not going to make a point, and not really going to matter anyway. Just because you're playing from so far behind, you're not going to have the space all the time to be able to get your farm up from the Battle Fury. Would have really liked to see a phase drum into Aghanim Scepter from Mickey Mouse and a Yule Scepter coming out from the Death Prophet. That would have given a lot more survivability. Since you saw the instant she gets glimpsed back, she dies. When you get glimpsed, you could actually use the Yule Scepter to prevent yourself from being glimpsed, so long as you time it properly. If you get ward trapped, you can Yule Scepter yourself up to give yourself 2.5 seconds when you're not being hit. Valerie gonna take a fall. What? Not even able to get her ultimate off. Golfy turned into a chicken, and that's a roast chicken with Felfie able to cut him down with the Flame Guard. Pandy comes in, Song of the Siren pops out of a buyback from as Valerie, but that's 3 against 5. You don't want to engage on this. AO even blinks into the song saying, come at me, bro. Fire Remnant throws in the Bristleback, says, toss me, I cannot jump the distance, you'll have to toss me. Felfie zips in with the Fire Remnant, Crypt Swarm throws on him. Gets another kill with that Flame Guard. Valerie's being zipped back in. Never mind, up. So Mickey Mouse, he throws out the Omni Slash. Gets killed by 1 whack from the tree. Valerie takes a fall. After a buyback, Golfy respawns saying, hey guys, what did I miss? But look, it's a tier 3 and perhaps a tier 2 as well as a tier 3. Looks like Felfie and friends have got game 1 in the bag.
But it doesn't look good.
Very impressive plays coming out from Disruptor as well as the Storms, as the Shadow Shaman. Constantly being able to provide that extra AoE DPS and lockdown with their abilities. Flip Switch MVP for this game just because he was able to accomplish so much in the off lane. He died once and then he just kept killing everyone from that point on.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone deserves a comment in terms of Felfie and friends. The teamwork is just flawless from them.
Very surprising considering TYK, one of the reasons why they're such a strong team is they have very good teamwork and coordination. Looks like Felfie and friends are able to outdraft them and outplay them. Very rare to see this happen.
Power of friendship.
Please don't tell me you're a Brony.
Twilight Princess the best, man.
Oh god. Victor, please disband. Kick 5200, he's a Brony. He's a fucking Brony. It's okay, you can swap him out for Flash. I think Yoshi was telling me how Flash dishonored the Blink name, so they might be going for a roster change. So switch out.
Because of yesterday.
Yeah, when he was playing as a stand-in on the Centaur War and wasn't able to carry. Mickey Mouse cops one Flame Guard and Slater Fist and loses 80% of his HP. That's the power of Felfir right now. He is stacked as all hell. He has a Chrysalis as well as a Battle Fury. Valerie is going to be called out with the Nasal Goo. And TYK really on the back foot. They're just barely holding on to their racks. They're waiting for the end. Nyx Assassin nowhere near his Blink Dagger, so he's not going to have that initiation.
I think TYK should call the GG because this is not good for them mentally.
Yeah, definitely.
Getting put back the whole time might not be good for them in the second game.
So when you get in that mindset as well, it's one of the things you have to keep in mind. Dota 2 is a mental game. Mindset is just as important as player ability. And so you see the 4 position Shadow Shaman has more net worth than the 1 position and the 2 position over on TYK. So both the Death Prophet and the Juggernaut getting out-farmed by Shadow Shaman. With that Blink Dagger, he almost has an Aghanim Scepter up on him. Huge amount of extra DPS coming out from his Serpent Wards as it increases the physical DPS from each of them by about 33%. So it's a substantial amount of DPS coming out from the Mass Serpent Wards. Valerie, I have to actually point out, she actually hasn't been using Naga Siren mirror images to scout out. She's using them now.
I think what? Oh, wait.
Oh, Song of the Siren catches out 2 this time. Never mind, catches out 3. AO and Felfie's friend instantly going to be the target of the thing. Just want to ignore the Bristleback. Static Stomp immediately dropped. Mass Serpent was dropped as well. This initiation falling apart. Kuka Pang just gets off his exorcism. Let's go take a fall. Golfy gets a kill with that Vendetta. Gets smacked down by a tree. AO holding it pandied. He's saying zombie up against Chicken Man. Chicken Man wins. Slaps him down with 1 more right click. That's a team wipe for TYK in exchange for a kill in that 5 position. That's the power of the Disruptor as a counter to the TYK's combination. He's able to get that Static Storm off faster than Death Prophet can get his Silence off, just because he has a faster cast point than her. And that's a tier 3 tower going down, as well as a Rax. Tiny pushes so goddamn quickly. He's going for that Manta style now. That Yasha provides 31% attack speed. Very good pickup on Tiny, even though he's a strength hero. That could actually even be tier 4s or Megas. They've got no ultimates up from TYK, apart from the Omni Slash, and Felfie and friends can actually just tank up the Omni Slash right now. They've got enough EHP up on all their cores. If they just group together, they could just tank it up, but they're playing it safe. They know they're ahead, so why not get more ahead? Flip Switch has an Assault Cuirass.
So far ahead.
That is 1 angry Bristleback. He's got Blade Mail, Vanguard, as well as an AC. Keep in mind, Warpath actually gives you a huge amount of DPS. Bristleback actually hits for about 250 to 300 with max stacks up in Warpath. So having that attack speed and having that negative armor from the Nasal Goo as well as the Assault Cuirass means Bristleback actually right-clicks very fucking hard. That's one of the reasons why he's been picked up so much, is with that change to Warpath, giving him more stacks and a longer duration. Bristleback actually is a surprisingly good right-clicker. And so if you ignore him, you have to keep in mind that he'll just be beating on your support heroes. Daedalus now picked up by the Ember Spirit. So I'm looking for some huge fish and crits coming out from Ember Spirit. Able to kill someone with 1 Slater Fist. Could be happening. Golfy, he's
like the Battle Fury build as well.
Yeah. The Battle Fury also adds that cleave. They're stuck together, and Nyx Assassin, he's caught way out of position. Takes 2 hits, 1 Slater Fist, and 1 right click, and he takes a fall. Aghanim Scepter and Manta style finish, so 2 huge items. Tiny now has 3 of him, so he can push that much faster. Shadow Shaman has as Mass Serpent Wards upgraded, so they do a lot more damage with the Aghanim Scepter upgrade.
Look at what Felfie did. Look at his items now.
Oh, so now looks like he must have been tuning into the cast. Sells his arcane boots for the face boots. It's good to know the players.
Decision.
Yeah, looks like the players keep in mind what I've been saying. So that's always good to hear. He knows at least for next game. 1 Slater Fist almost kills Valerie. Shadow Shaman jumps in, gets the kill. Tiny's able to snag it with the Avalanche. Pandy takes a fall. Slater Fist almost kills Mickey Mouse. This is 1 stacked Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit, can I say it? Omni Slash popped on Bristleback, but he doesn't care. Just pops a Blade Mail. Waits for it to wear off, goes for a kill. Kuka, Pang getting knocked out. 2 Godlikes over on Felfie and friends. The power of friendship proving to be too much. I get the feeling these guys must watch a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's the power of friendship right here. GG finally called by TYK. They've had enough of being slapped around. 32 minutes in. Felfie and friends able to counter TYK's wombo combo 40-9. Very commanding game 1. We're just going to take a quick break and we'll be right back for game number 2. Any final thoughts there, 5200?
Let's see what TYK has to play.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a
strat.
Pandy Panda, but that's just me. Alrighty, we're just going to take a quick break, so stay tuned.